Now, there are some people who might think that manners are for old fogies, and of course they'd be absolutely right, but they're breathtakingly old fogies. There's a papyrus from Egypt in the 5th dynasty, so that's about 4,500 years ago, called the Maxims of Pater Hautup. Now, it's low on jokes, if I'm honest with you, but the behaviour that it suggests, and that's what it's for, it's about telling you how to behave, the ideas in it are pretty much the same as today. Truthfulness, self-control, and kindness to others. I know lots of people, when they hear the word etiquette, they think, oh, it's about choosing the right fork. But in fact, it's a French word. It means just ticket. And most of it evolved during the court of Louis XIV. Poor old Louis, all those nobles constantly plotting against him. So the way he kept them under control was to constantly invent new ways in which they had to behave. My least favourite of these is that they had to scratch very carefully on the king's chamber door if they wanted admission. And they had to do this with the little finger on their left hand. And so they showed their tremendous loyalty to the king by growing the nail on that finger very, very long. And all these rules were written on tickets. Etiquette. The thing about manners is that it evolves. So, for example, Roman matrons used to spit down the front of their dresses to ward off the evil eye, and I can just tell you that this is no longer necessary. So, why would you even need a book on manners? Well, the thing is, in life, we start without any at all. If you think about it, a baby arrives and immediately has fantastically bad manners. They wee on everybody, they start waking you up in the middle of the night. Then sometimes what happens towards the end of your life, you lose your manners. You become an old person standing on a zebra crossing, shouting at passing strangers. So we need to learn how to behave properly. Table manners, that's a huge section. There have been table manners since there have been tables. Why? Well, mainly to stop us killing each other. Lots and lots of people have rows at the dinner table, but hardly anybody ever dies during dinner, even though we're sitting very close together with pointed objects. Some of the rules are bog standard. For example, never say bog at the table. That's because while we're eating, we don't like to be reminded of bodily functions. So the book covers everything, really. There's forking history. There's why not to have sex with animals. Honestly, it's not as complicated as you think. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Now, please, would you go and read my book? Well, it'd be rude not to.